بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله صلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. الباب الخمسون بعد المئة، باب تلقين المحتضر لا إله إلا الله. عن معاذ رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: من كان آخر كلامه لا إله إلا الله دخل الجنة. رواه أبو داود والحاكم وقال صحيح الإسناد. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: لقنوا موتاكم لا إله إلا الله. رواه Muslim. Chapter 150 says, getting the Muslim who is about to die to make the kalima of Tawheed, to say La ilaha illallah. The one who's very ill, who's very sick, and the doctors say, or the one who's dying says it, or you know it and feel it, that they're about to die, their very last moments. It could be any day now, it could be any hour. Your father, your wife, your son, your daughter, your cousin, your uncle is sent home from the hospital, sent home from the hospice, in which the physicians say, be prepared. Without any exaggeration, it can be any day now. It's nothing but a matter of time before they die. Whatever the disease or the illness may be, stage 4 cancer, etc. A serious injury, one is in critical condition, etc. They ask you the question, would you like us to keep them on the machine or not, etc. One who is about to die, or someone who's dying from natural causes, they have a severe fever and they feel they're about to die. It is recommended for you to get them to say, at least recommended, maybe obligatory, to say La ilaha illallah. Tayyib. Inshallah, we'll come back to the explanation of that. The first hadith is reported by Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Man kana akhira kalamihi la ilaha illallah dakhla al-jannah. Whoever's last words is La ilaha illallah, the statement of Tawheed, will enter paradise. His last words before he dies. And this hadith is corrected by Imam Abu Dawood and Al-Hakim, who declared that his chain of narration was sound. There's a very interesting story with regards to some of the early Muslims of Hadith, some of the scholars of Hadith, is that there was a great Imam of Hadith, and if my memory serves me correctly, I think it's Abu Zur'a al-Razi, rahimahullah. So this great alim, he was of the 3rd century for sure. His students, his disciples, they heard that he was sick. He was aging, he was ill, and he wasn't doing too well. So they said, let's go visit him. And inshallah ta'ala, perhaps we can remind him of this, even though he's our teacher. And we look up to him with so much respect and awe. And perhaps we can get some last benefits from him. Alright, tayyib. So they went around his bed, and he was in a fever, he was clearly he was about to die. So they wanted to practice the sunnah. And they wanted to remind him to say La ilaha illallah. However, this was a big sheikh, their teacher for years. So it wasn't just, it wasn't that simple. So they sat and they thought about how can we get him to make the kalima of Tawheed. So one of them came up with the idea, let's make review of hadith. All right, let's make review of the hadith, and without changes of narration, we'll end up with this statement, Man kana akhir kalamihi la ilaha illallah dakhla al-jannah. So the first student, he said, Ya Shaykh, can we read upon you? He was dying. And he said, Naqra alayk yani. Can we read to you? To show you the diligence that they had. That not one single moment was wasted. He said, go ahead. So he says, حدثكم فلان قال حدثنا فلان قال حدثنا قال حدثنا قال حدثنا تردد ما استطاع يعني يكمل الجملة. So he stuttered as if he forgot. And then the other student, he said, let me read to you your hadiths. قال أخبركم فلان قال حدثنا قال حدثنا that. And then all of a sudden, he just couldn't remember. And it went back and forth. And finally, the dying Imam, he said, لعلكم تقصدون ما حدثنا به فلان قال حدثنا فلان قال حدثنا فلان قال عن معاذ بن جبل قال رسول الله من كان آخر كلام لا إله إلا الله دخل الجنة. And he died. He said, you guys talking about this hadith? And he quoted it until the last part, and that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took his soul. So this is a very interesting story with regards to, first and foremost, implementing this hadith, trying to get the person to say La ilaha illallah before they die, and that which is known as husn al-khatima or husn al-khitam, having a good ending. And there are ways of you having a good ending, just as there are ways of you having a bad ending. Some scholars have stated, min al-mujarrab, is that it's experience, it's proven. أن المرابي لا يكون له حسن الختام, is that the one who eats riba, the one who deals with riba never has a good ending. They've said it's been proven over the centuries. We've never seen a person that dealt with riba die in a good way. And other scholars, they say that when a person has a bad ending, تدل على يعني سريرة سيئة, a bad secret, something that the people saw, they thought he was righteous, but something very bad that he kept from them, and that obviously came out at the last minute. So how your person dies, you die in sujood, you die in salah, you die in a peaceful manner in your sleep, you die in the masjid, you die on the battlefield, you die saying the kalima of la ilaha illallah easily, simply, without no hesitations, versus a great difficulty in a person saying that. So you die as you live. It's just that simple. You die as you live. The manner in which you live, that's the manner in which you're going to die. And of course, that's going to be the manner in which you're going to be resurrected. So the one who's about to die, he should make this statement, and this is a promise from the Prophet ﷺ, is that he will enter Jannah. That is the reward for that, for him being firm. The next hadith is reported by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, Laqinu mawtakum. He says, those who are dead, get them to say, La ilaha illallah. And this hadith is in Sahih Muslim. And obviously the meaning of the hadith, mawtakum, يعني man hadarathu al-wafa. Al-muhtadirin, يعني. The Prophet says, you're dead, meaning those who are about to die. Because someone is dead, you can't get them to say anything. They've left this dunya. Their affairs with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't do anything. They themselves can't do anything. So that's clearly not what's meant by that hadith. And that's well known in the Arabic language. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل الخلاء قال اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الخبث. يعني إذا أراد أن يدخل. When he wanted to enter. فإذا قرأت القرآن وإذا قرأت القرآن يعني إذا أردت القراءة. When you want to recite. So what's meant by motakum are those who are dying, not those who are dead. Why am I bringing this up? From one thing we learn 10,000 things. لقنوا موتاكم ياسين. اقرأوا على موتاكم ياسين. Read Yasin to your dead. It's wrong. Most Muslims, 9 out of 10 probably, one could say, someone dies and they recite Surah Yasin in the house or at the graveyard. هذا خطأ وهذا غلط. فضلا عن هل الحديث صحيح أم لا. Let alone is a hadith even sound. But for argument's sake, if the hadith is sound, read Yasin to those who are about to die, not to the dead. He's gone. And if you look at what Yasin includes and what it entails, it's a benefit to the living, a reminder, a refresher. So if the hadith is sound, someone is dying, you read Yasin to them, not you read Yasin upon the actual dead. والدليل على هذا التأويل لأن التأويل يحتاج إلى دليل تأويله شروط لسنا نؤول ونصرف ظواهر النصوص بلا مبرر. The proof of this interpretation is this hadith. لقنوا موتاكم. Those who have died, meaning those who are about to die. And the death is so close that they are called mota. Summu mota. شدة وخربة الموت. Because death is so close by. As far as if someone is dead, you say La ilaha illallah. Kayf yani. The soul is taken out. There is no, that's the angel's job now, to get the dead person to say it in the grave. Man rabbuka, ma dinuka, wa ma ilmuka bihadha rajul. What knowledge do you have about this man named Muhammad? That's the angel's job, not the job of the living. And obviously there are hundreds of other examples of how many of us have misunderstandings of doubtful practices. A practice which is at best doubtful. If it's even sound, you're not even doing it the right way. All right? And this is the benefit of ilm, of knowledge, of us learning it and us teaching it and spreading it to our family members. And there's nothing wrong with your culture as long as your culture is in boundaries within Kitab and Sunnah. And if that's not the case, if your culture comes before Kitab and Sunnah, above Kitab and Sunnah, then you'll imitate the Quraysh. And that's why they didn't accept the Prophet, because of their culture. أَجَعَلَ الْآلِهَةَ, has he made all of the gods that we've had for centuries just one? It was something that they couldn't accept, and they were scared of shaming their forefathers. So it's important to have the proper understanding of Islam, especially at the time of death, in which there's a lot of emotions, and people are distraught, people are desperate, and it's a prime opportunity for the shaitan to strike you. Because it's your dad or your mom or your wife who passed away. So you may not be thinking straight. And that is why you should have someone of knowledge that's close by you. But how can you benefit from a person of knowledge when he's close by, when he himself doesn't have the proper understanding? When he himself is blindly following. He himself is practicing some weak narration from his teacher, So the man yuridu bi khairan yufaqihu fi din. Whoever Allah wants good for, He gives them understanding of the religion. So therefore, getting those who are about to die to say La ilaha illallah, to the last thing that they say, the people of knowledge, they say, is that you should not annoy and irritate the person who's dying. Keep saying it, just once. And as long as they don't say anything else afterwards, then that's enough. Because you don't want to keep pushing them, and they may say something negative, and then they die in that state. Leave me alone. Don't you see I'm in pain? And then their soul is taken, and that's obviously not a good ending. Wallahu ta'ala alam.